Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Daniel, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to make an animatronic, because I wanted to do that for a long time when I was a little kid, and I had no idea how to do it, and the tutorials were either non-existent or complete ass. So I figured, now that I have, a slight grasp on how to do it, that I might as well use what limited knowledge I have to help you guys out into starting out, and more than likely you'll probably come up with better results than I have. I'm just going to teach you how to make a simple one, but I'm going to teach you everything. I'm going to tell you everything you're going to need. It's going to be like, I'm going to use 3 pistons. They're going to be big pistons, but you can use whatever size you want. And it's going to be made out of cardboard. You could make it out of wood if you want. You're just going to have to cut wood. I use cardboard to make all of my prototypes, like that one over there. But yeah, we got this guy right here. I made him a few months ago, and he could move like this, and you could tell all the kids, "Come over here, get in my little white van." Oh, all that, yeah. So his mouth moved, his eyes were just googly eyes. They were able to move at one point, but I've never really been able to get down the whole eye movement thing. So there was a whole bunch of electronics here. I'm not teaching you how to do that. I don't know how to do that. There was a super simple positive and negative terminal thing where I used to hook up to the motor that controls his hand that goes this way, but it's powered by a 9-volt battery. Alright, so the basic stuff you're going to need is some tubing, and then you're going to need some tube cutters. I've got 2 of them right there. Sorry about the view. I'm filming on my good camera, and it doesn't have a very good thing. I don't know. You're gonna need, obviously, the pistons. I actually have another one over there that I'm gonna go get real quick. Alright, I changed the camera angle because I hated it. I think I'm just gonna use the camera harness, the chest mount for my phone. Alright, so you're also going to need some tools, and I just have my Lego toolbox here. You don't need everything in here. You're only going to need just like this, and that's pretty much it. You're just going to need a wrench. So I think that's it. You might want to just have like a multi-tool on you, but oh yeah, look, I got an extra tiny piston in here. So yeah, you're just going to want to keep like some pretty basic stuff on you. Regarding tools, at least. Now, some pretty specific things you're gonna need in order, like, if you want this to work at all, is you're gonna need a valve bank. I got this gifted to me a few years ago. It's like, I think $24, or at least it was back then. It could be a little more now. This is just a 6 solenoids on a bank, so it's, I'm not gonna get a lot of movements out of this. And I also wired each and every single one of them just in case I ever want to actually start programming this, which I haven't even figured out how to do that yet, so you're probably not going to get that information from me. Right. You're also going to want to actually service this, because I've had to do it a few times just because I didn't know it at the start. You're going to want to unbolt every single thing you see here, all of these, and put some Teflon tape in there so there's no air leaks, because I had a lot of them, and now it's virtually pretty silent. That's another thing you're going to need, some Teflon tape. Alright, so depending on how many movements you've got on your valve bank, you're going to want to keep every single one closed. And the way I do it is just with some small pieces of tubing, so the air just goes in and out and in and out, and it can't go anywhere. Alright, I just knocked over some paint. Doesn't matter. Alright, so this is where all the air goes into. So I'm going to hook that up to my air tank, which is another thing you're going to need. This is a refillable air tank. I have like an automatic one coming in, well, as a gift for my birthday. But yeah, so just hold up, let me take this out. Alright, there we go. So just hook that up there, and then close that up. Alright. I've already got the tubes hooked up to his mouth. Let me give you an explanation on this. If you look at my shorts tab, there's a bunch of videos on this guy. I was gonna make a Dangineering episode about him, but the thing is, I started when I didn't have my phone because I lost it for like a month, and then I ended up finding it. But I was already pretty much like, I was too far along with this guy to start making the video about him by the time I was able to start filming. So I just figured I wouldn't even bother. So I guess he gets a formal an honorable mention in this Dangineering video, which I forgot to mention. This is a Dangineering video, as evidenced by the fact that it says Dangineering on his board right there in nice cursive letters. All right, so I've got the I've got it hooked up to him already on his mouth. So just alright, so I'm just gonna hope that I wired it up properly, or not really, hooked it up properly, because depending on how you hook it up in the holes is how his mouth behaves. Because if I have it set up one way, his mouth will stay closed when I open up the air. But if I hook it up another way, his mouth will open the second I put up the air. I'm gonna bet that his mouth is gonna open. So let's start the air tank. The only thing I have working on him so far is the mouth, just because I haven't bothered hooking anything else up. But, alright, let's hook it up. There we go. Look at that. I told you guys his mouth would open first. Yeah, look at that. His mouth moves. You guys aren't really getting a good view of him. I guess this thing isn't, like, as tall as I need it to be. So let me just raise that up a little bit. There we go. And if you look in there, I don't know. If you look right there, you see the little piston that is making him function. He's biting you. Alright, so that's how it works. You know, pneumatics, air power, right? Now, I'm going to show you how to actually build one. For the 0 people wondering, I store him under the table in my closet so that he doesn't kill me when I'm sleeping. I feel like it's kind of obvious, but just in case, I did not mention you also have to have scissors in order for this to work. Or a table saw if you're doing wood, like I said earlier. But we got some cardboard here. This is probably not going to be everything we need, but this is what we can at least start with. So, I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a plan for what exactly I want to build, so I'm going to wing it. Although I did actually have a plan for my Godzilla, and I did draw up some blueprints if anyone wants to, you know, take a look at that. I drew these with my little cousin Felix. Shout out to him. Alright, so let's get started for real this time. So just cut up every single panel of cardboard, because you're probably going to need it, you know. Just have that hoarder mentality. You don't know when you're going to need it, but you probably will. Alright, I cut it all up. I'm gonna go get some paper and draw up what I think I want this to be. So I've come up with this genius invention, the hand. I'm just going to teach you how to make a robot arm. So actually, I don't have to make a new one, because I could just rip it off the old one. But, you know, you guys deserve the best, so I'm going to make it from scratch, just for you guys. Where's the piston? probably overkill using these, but I've only got one of the smaller ones and I'm not getting Godzilla. So let's do this. I've never made a tutorial video before, so I keep failing to mention a lot of the things you're going to need. You're going to need some zip ties and some skewers. The skewers are really optional. It just depends on whether or not, again, if you're making it out of cardboard, and also if you want this, you know, little project to last. Also, you don't have to make the hand, just so you know. This is really just teaching you the principles of making one. You can make whatever you want. Just use the logic that I apply here into what you build. Alright, so typically with thicker cardboard, you could just stick the skewer like right through it and not even have to worry. But with pretty thin cardboard like this, which definitely needs the support, you're just going to want to glue it onto the back. So, I'm not too sure I want to use both of the skewers because I'm kind of limited to just this. So, I'll just use both of them. Alright, so since it's made of cardboard, and I kind of want this to be as cheap as possible, just so you know, pistons are extremely expensive. I mean, I was able to get a good deal on these. I think it was like $6 each. But, you know, the more movements you want, the more expensive it gets, and it really starts to add up. I actually got 3 of these, thanks to my dad. Shout out to him. So, I actually have one installed on the Godzilla. I don't know why I was pointing outside of the view of the camera. But I've got 2 that I'm not currently using, and those 2 will go into this. So, alright. Right, and I was going to mention the fact that in order to make the joints, it's also going to be cardboard, so you're just going to want to use some flimsier cardboard. I wouldn't recommend using Amazon boxes like these, because they're very thick, and so it's just going to be, you know, tough to use. Alright, something like this. It's just slightly less thick, so it's easy to bend. And you don't do what I just did and bend it along the grain. You can't even see what I'm talking about. Just bend it along the grain. If you don't know what that means, I'll put an image here. Whoa, look at that. Alright, is it recording? Alright, I got the holes redone. And so now, you just take a zip tie through that, and then you put it through there, and then you put it through the other hole. Okay, hold up, I just kind of messed it up real quick. Alright, and then you just slip it on through there. Alright. Make sure you have enough wiggle room in there so that it doesn't tear away the cardboard or like rub at it. And then just snip that off. Alright, so I've got the forearm done, the forearm and the bicep done. Recording, I actually had a shipment come in, and the rest of my brass fittings for the small pistons came in. So I can actually finish Godzilla today. But I value you guys, so I'm gonna finish the hand. I'm gonna go store these away for real quick. I just need 2. So now that I have these super small fittings, I can actually, rather than using the 2 big pistons, I did change my mind. I'm only going to be using 2 pistons. Rather than using the 2 big pistons, I can actually use this, which will make it a lot easier on me. So, let me just look. Right, you're also going to need, you're going to need screw-in or quick attach fittings for your pistons. Let's just cut a hand out of this. It doesn't need to really be all that sturdy. It's not going to be, like, under much stress like the rest of this is. Okay, here we go. Alright, we got our hand. Let's stick. We just bend this. So we got fingers too. We got punch in the face. Alright. Alright. Let's attach the hand. Alright. The hand is attached. When you attach the cardboard joints, let me zoom in real quick. fix the camera. Okay, when you attach the cardboard joints, make sure they're facing each other so that way it can actually, you know, function. Because if you have them facing like the same direction, it's just gonna like tear off when you try to start it up. Alright, so I'm letting the glue set right now because it's still pretty hot, but it's done. This is a pretty much complete. Now all I have to do is, you know, attach the tubing, put it into the valve bank, hook that up to the air tank, and this thing will work. I'm gonna hope that it doesn't fail on me because, you know, I'll have to do a bunch of restructuring on it. But, you know, obviously there's gonna be some mishaps. You know, your first attempt is never gonna be completely perfect. So, you know, just expect that. Don't let that hinder your progress or whatever. All right, so basically, yeah, this is a finished project. So the forearm lifts like that, and the hand lifts like that, and it basically does like that. All right, so with 2 pistons, there's 4 attachment points. So you're gonna want to cut out from your tubing. You're gonna want to cut out 4 tubes. So hold up, I gotta flip this over. There we go. So let me just, you know, cut this. I have 2 different types of, well, they're the same thing. I have 2 different cutters. This one just came with the tubing, and this one also came with the tubing. I've ordered 2 different tubes like before, so because look, I have this as well. This is 8mm tubing. This is 6mm tubing, and also if you're gonna get the specific, if you want to get the specifics down, with this tiny little piston you see here, you're going to want to get a 4mm threaded fitting for this one. Alright, so let's cut this up. Alright, so let's open this up. Alright, so let's attach the tubing. So the tubing is in the piston. So let's get the valve bank out, and we're gonna have to remove one of these. So let me get my pair of needle nose pliers and undo that one. It's a little trickier on this one because there's not a lot of room, but it's all right. All right, so let's attach this here. And then let's attach this here. Alright. So now we should have a working animatronic arm. Alright, let's turn on the air. And on the valve bank, there's these little buttons that you can press to manually let the air in and out. And let's see. Does this work or does it fail? Oh shit! It works! Look at that. It functions. Since I have a refillable tank, I can't control the PSI. But if you have, if you have one that works automatically, then you can also control the PSI, which controls the speed. And see, I just kind of fell off because it's pretty fast. But yeah, it works. Then again, I also didn't really attach this properly. One thing you want to make sure you do, if you do make this, unlike what I did, you're going to want to center the piston so that it doesn't pull like that, which is something I overlooked. But if you don't want to do that, you can also just make the joint like go over the entire wrist, and you're pretty much set. But yeah, this is a fully working animatronic arm. It is made of cardboard, but you know what? It works. So, yeah. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. If you guys want me to finish the robot, like make a full working version of it, then be sure to like and subscribe. And if you don't want me to finish it, then be sure to like and subscribe. Just, I really need this. But yeah, I hope you guys, can actually use the information I gave you in this video. I hope I actually explained it right. But when all said and done, that's it. Thanks for watching. See ya.